Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Maharashtra Pakshimitra, first I welcome to Mr. Ashwin Viswanathan sir, today's speaker. महाराष्ट्र पक्षीमित्राच्या ह्या आजच्या 9व्या वेबिनारमध्ये आज जे महाराष्ट्र पक्षीमित्राचे सभासद आणि पदाधिकारी जॉईन झाले आहेत त्या सर्वांचं मी स्वागत करतो. आपल्याला माहिती आहे की महाराष्ट्र पक्षीमित्रकडून आपण गेल्या काही दिवसापासून हे तिसरी वेबिनार सिरीज सुरू केली आणि त्यातला हा 9वा वेबिनार आहे. महाराष्ट्र पक्षीमित्र महाराष्ट्रामध्ये गेल्या 42 वर्षापासून काम करते आणि पक्षी मित्रांचं संघटन आणि पक्ष्यांचं अभ्यास आणि संवर्धन अशा पद्धतीचं काम असतं आणि पक्षी मित्रांची संमेलनं दरवर्षी घेणे आणि पक्षी मित्रांना प्लॅटफॉर्म उपलब्ध करून देणे हा एक महाराष्ट्र पक्षी मित्रचा मुख्य उपक्रम असतो. तर मी जास्त वेळ न घेता अश्विन सरांना पुन्हा एकदा वेलकम करतो आणि अश्विन सरांचा परिचय देण्यासाठी चेतना मॅडमला पुढे हँड ओव्हर करतो.
A very warm welcome to all. And today's Maharashtra Pakshimitra webinar series third is the 9th webinar. And today's webinar is going to be presented by Mr. Ashwin Viswanathan. Yes, Ashwin is a well-known birder in India, and those who are associated with the Bird Count India, the monthly challenges, patch monitoring, and the state of India's bird, all are very well aware about the Ashwin. So I heartily welcome you on this platform, Ashwin. So Ashwin basically is a mechanical engineer, and he turned into an ecologist, a long time bird watcher. In his early career research, he studied plant biology and the effects of fragmentation on a mechanism that maintain plant diversity. So he is not only associated with the bird research or bird analyst, but he is also enthusiastic about the plants also. Then he became the increasingly fascinated by the potential of a citizen science like eBird, Bird Count India, or the other platforms to answer monitoring team at the Nature Conservation Foundation, a group that encourages bird watcher to systematically monitor birds and help general knowledge from the data that emerges. And we all are very well known about the State of India's Bird Report, which has been released just 15 days back. And I like to say that the Ashwin is a major contributor of that the report. He has been analyzed the data, and he has been analyzed all the eBird list that we all birders are submitted to the eBird India portal. So I heartily welcome you, Ashwin, and I would like to request you to please you start with your presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for attending the talk. तो अब सबके मन में क्वेश्चन होगा कि ये जो भी चेकलिस्ट अपलोड करते हैं ईबर्ड पे उसका कंजर्वेशन वैल्यू क्या हो सकता है. इतना सारा डेटा, जैसे आप ये मैप देख रहे हो यहाँ पे, ये पूरा इंडिया का मैप है, बट एक्चुअली इंडिया का मैप नहीं है. ये जो चेकलिस्ट अपलोड किया इंडिया से, वो ऑलमोस्ट हर कोना में आता है. पूरा पॉलिटिकल बाउंड्री बना देता है जो भी चेकलिस्ट है, फ्रॉम द रिमोटेस्ट कॉर्नर अरुणाचल, आंध्र प्रदेश, गुजरात, राजस्थान, महाराष्ट्र, पूरा इंडिया को कवर करता है जो भी बर्ड वॉचर्स का डेटा है ई बर्ड पे. तो ये एक्चुअली 470,000 लोकेशन से चेकलिस्ट अपलोड हुआ है, मोर देन 2.5 मिलियन चेकलिस्ट और ऑलमोस्ट 40,000 पीपल, 40,000 इंडिया में, इंडिया में अभी तक रिपोर्ट हुआ है, ये प्लेटफॉर्म पे है. तो ये इतना वास्ट डेटा ये कंजर्वेशन में हो सकता है. स्टेट ऑफ इंडिया बर्ड्स 2020 रिसेंटली रिपोर्ट पब्लिश हुआ था, एंड दिस रिपोर्ट was possible because many organizations and individuals came together. SYB 2020, SYB मतलब स्टेट ऑफ इंडिया बर्ड्स 2020 में पहले पब्लिश हुआ था, और वो उसमें 867 स्पीशीज का ट्रेंड्स और रेंज साइजेस उसमें कैलकुलेट किया था. एंड दिस टाइम देयर आर 942 स्पीशीज. So these are some of the partner organizations. So many organizations that work with birds have come together इसके लिए. So yes, state of India's birds is based on trends, and trends species का abundance कैसे change हुआ है in time, and how can this be calculated from eBird data. So this is from a concept called frequency of reporting. सोच लो कि हमने 5 चेकलिस्ट किया है, तो 5 चेकलिस्ट में किसी स्पीशीज इंडियन रॉबिन सोच लो कि एवरी चेकलिस्ट में है, तो 5 आउट ऑफ 5 चेकलिस्ट में है, तो उसका फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ रिपोर्टिंग 100% है. अभी आप सोच लो कि 10 years प्रीवियसली आपने 5 चेकलिस्ट बनाया था और उसमें इंडियन रॉबिन सिर्फ 3 चेकलिस्ट में था, तो उसमें फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ रिपोर्टिंग होगा 60%. तो हम एक ही स्पीशीज का अबंडेंस या फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ रिपोर्टिंग को ट्रैक किया, तो ये 60% से 100% हो गया है. तो उसका हम बोल सकते हैं कि उसका अबंडेंस या फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ रिपोर्टिंग इंक्रीज हुआ है टाइम में. तो ये विद इन स्पीशीज ही कंपैरिजन हो सकता है. आप सोच लो कि किसी और स्पीशीज ग्रेट इंडियन बस्टर्ड, पहले उसका फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ रिपोर्टिंग 30% था कुछ एरियाज में, अभी ऑलमोस्ट 0% हो गया. तो हम बोल सकते हैं कि उसका फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ रिपोर्टिंग या अबंडेंस कम हुआ है. तो यही है, फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ रिपोर्टिंग को ट्रैक करके हम बोल सकते हैं कि ट्रेंड कम हुआ है या ज्यादा हुआ है. तो यही बेसिस है रिपोर्ट का, लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रेंड्स और करंट ट्रेंड्स. वो बिफोर 2000 से कंपेयर किया तो अभी क्या हुआ है, और करेंटली क्या हो रहा है, अभी कम हो रहा है या ज्यादा हो रहा है. पर ऑफ कोर्स ईबर्ड डेटा तो काफी कैजुअल होता है, मतलब हम इट्स अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ व्हाट वी एंजॉय. जैसे हम किसी नाइस एरिया में जाके चेकलिस्ट बनाते हैं, कुछ लोग 10 मिनट का चेकलिस्ट बनाते हैं, कुछ लोग 1 hour 2 hours का चेकलिस्ट बनाते हैं, ये जो भी कंफर्टेबल होता है. तो इसमें काफी सारा वेरिएशन होता है, और स्पेस में भी वेरिएशन होता है. जैसे कुछ एरियाज बहुत वेल बर्डेड है, कुछ एरियाज इतना वेल बर्डेड नहीं है. तो ये एनालिसिस का टाइम काफी स्टैटिस्टिक्स का यूज करना पड़ता है. जैसे जो भी बर्डिंग एफर्ट है, कितना टाइम करते हैं बर्डिंग, कितना डिस्टेंस के लिए बर्डिंग करते हैं, उसका स्टैंडर्डाइज करना पड़ता है उसके लिए. सिमिलरली सीजनैलिटी, मोस्टली विंटर्स में ज्यादा बर्डिंग होता है, समर और मानसून में कम होता है. तो ये सब फैक्टर्स को कंबाइन करके हमको ये स्टैटिस्टिक्स जनरलाइज लीनियर मॉडल यूज करके ये सब उसका इम्पैक्ट रिड्यूस करते हैं, ये वेरिएशन का. और फाइनली ट्रेंड्स दिखाने से पहले ईबर्ड इंडिया में 2014 में स्टार्ट हुआ था. तो एक्चुअली ये लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रेंड्स कैसे पॉसिबल है, हम सब 2014 के बाद ईबर्ड यूज कर रहे हैं, पर लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रेंड्स कैसे पॉसिबल है. इट्स बिकॉज बहुत सारे लोग, मेनी पीपल इन द ग्रुप हियर have actually gone back to their notes and uploaded this data. This is data from 2 people, Ashish Pitti and P. Jagannathan. Ashish Pitti is from Hyderabad, Jagannathan from Tamil Nadu, and Inka from all the way from the 1980s and 90s, they have kept meticulous notes. ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं, and I'm sure all of you are aware that many people in Maharashtra have also uploaded such historical information, and only because of that is it possible to look at what was the status before 2000 and in comparison what is the status today. After 2015 जो current trends का time period है, वो time में बहुत सारे लोग birding कर रहे हैं, और उसमें that is after the advent of eBird in India. And अभी before I go on, I will keep this presentation interactive. तो बहुत सारी questions पूछने वाला हूँ, especially about trends, so feel free to answer. तो ये एक एग्जाम्पल है ऑफ अ चेकलिस्ट फ्रॉम द पास्ट फ्रॉम 1969 हिमाचल से. समबडी कॉल्ड टोनी गैस्टन, इन्होंने बहुत सारे चेकलिस्ट अपलोड किया है वो टाइम से विथ वेरी वेरी वैल्यूएबल इंफॉर्मेशन. और वो चेकलिस्ट देख के हमको समझ में आता है कि कितना चेंज हुआ है वो टाइम से. और ये जो ट्रेंड्स कैलकुलेट किया था, दिस इज फॉर मेनी मेनी मिलियन ऑब्जर्वेशंस, मेनी मिलियन, मोर देन 2 million checklists. And because of that, ये बहुत टाइम लगता है इसमें just to do the statistics and produce output. तो this took 5 computers और and many weeks, 2 weeks just for the national trends to run. और फिर सभी states का runs के लिए बहुत सारा टाइम लगा. So this is a very computationally intensive analysis. So now to the interesting part. What were the results? Before I show the trends, first I will show a summary results का. So totally in the long term trend there were 98 species in rapid decline. मतलब उसका 50% से ज़्यादा decline हुआ abundance. In decline मतलब 25% से ज़्यादा decline हुआ. There are 106 species in the long term. So before 2000 to today, 98 species are stable और कुछ species increase भी हुआ है. इधर ट्रेंड इनकंक्लूसिव बोल के कैटेगरी है. दिस इज व्हेन बहुत सारा अनसर्टेनिटी है. मतलब हम बोल नहीं सकते विद कॉन्फिडेंस कि इंक्रीज हुआ है या डिक्रीज हुआ है या स्टेबल है. तो टोटली 942 स्पीशीज है. करंट एनुअल ट्रेंड इज अभी पिछले 8 इयर्स में क्या हो रहा है एनुअली डिक्लाइन हो रहा है या इंक्रीज हो रहा है या स्टेबल है. इसमें 64 स्पीशीज इन रैपिड डिक्लाइन. मतलब इन एनुअली इनका ऑलमोस्ट 2% से ज्यादा डिक्लाइन हो रहा है. एंड सिमिलरली द अदर कैटेगरीज. लकीली करंट ट्रेंड्स में काफी सारी स्पीशीज स्टेबल भी है. रेंज भी कैटेगराइज किया है. इन सम स्पीशीज आर हिस्टोरिकल, जैसे लास्ट 10 इयर्स में इनका रिकॉर्ड ही नहीं है. मणिपुर बुश क्वेल, जर्डन स्कोसर, ऐसे स्पीशीज. सम आर वेरी रिस्ट्रिक्टेड, जैसे बानसुरा लाफिंग थ्रश या किसी शोलकिली महाराष्ट्र में. आई मीन शायद
Please share the screen. Please share the screen, sir.
Oh, you're not seeing my screen?
Screen is visible.
Screen is already pinned and it is visible. You just exit the grid menu, please.
It's not visible, madam.
Visible.
After Dhananjay's screen was put off, his screen has gone.
Should I share again?
No, I just pin. The screen is already pinned.
Okay.
अनिल सर, तुम्ही तुमच्या स्क्रीनवरून पिन करा त्याला. धनंजय शाह सरने केल्यामुळे ते डिस्टर्ब झालं होतं. तुम्ही पिन करा.
Okay, is it visible now?
No, madam.
Okay, I will
असं
stop
तुम्ही
sharing
एक्झिट
and
करून
share.
परत जॉईन करा किंवा मग तुम्ही तुमच्या ग्रिड मेनू मधून बाहेर निघा. ती विजिबल होईल.
विजिबल आहे, फक्त काही लोकांचा प्रॉब्लेम आहे मॅडम. गो अहेड, कंटिन्यू.
Okay, fine. And totally out of everything, 178 species were made high priority. High priority matlab these are the species that we recommend for conservation action, whether it is research or any policy or anything. 178 species. Now I'll get to the more interesting parts. हर स्टेट के लिए की स्पीशीज भी कैलकुलेट किए थे. दिस इज बेस्ड ऑन वेदर इफ इट वाज अ हाई प्रायोरिटी स्पीशीज or threatened species in IUCN, it would qualify for a key species, assuming that a large proportion of the range of that species belongs to that state. तो इसमें there are two kinds of key species. One is a set of 4. जिसने भी रिपोर्ट देखा है on stateofindiasbirds.in, you see that महाराष्ट्र का एक्चुअली एक 4 species लिस्ट है और एक 20 species लिस्ट भी है. Can you guess 4 species for the Maharashtra priority list? Anybody can guess. ये 4 species क्या हो सकते हैं?
ग्रासलैंड बर्ड, लेसर फ्लोरिकन और ग्रेट इंडियन बस्टर्ड.
Okay. इसमें it has to have an important part of the species range अभी. So these are there in the greater list, but अभी in the 4 species.
Indian courser
Correct. Yes. Wonderful. Indian courser
belongs correct.
Maharashtra is very important for the Indian courser distribution. A big proportion of its range is in Maharashtra. Or forest owlet. Okay. Any more guesses? Forest owlet, yes, is one of the 4. तो अभी 2 हो गए 4 में से. Any more guesses?
Great thickening.
Good guess, but no.
Sir, Great Indian Bustard?
नहीं, because अभी शायद काफी कम हो गया महाराष्ट्र में. This is only for the last 7 or 8 years, and actually only राजस्थान आता है उसमें in the key states. So I'll show you. Interestingly, Nilgiri wood pigeon, Indian courser, pallid harrier, and forest owlet. Interestingly, ये grassland birds, courser और pallid harrier का large proportion of their range महाराष्ट्र में है. पैलिडारिया इज वाइड स्प्रेड, एक्चुअली पूरा पेनिनसुला में है, बट इट लुक्स लाइक उसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन और फ्रीक्वेंसी इन अदर एरियाज थोड़ा कम हुआ है इन द लास्ट मेनी इयर्स. तो उसका भी मैं ग्राफ दिखाऊंगा बाद में. And there is a list of 20 species. So in this one, you'll see that there are many more, including some forest species, some open habitat species, some river species, काफी सारे, including potentially common ducks like common poacher, ruddy shell duck, and some waders, etc. So this is a 20 species list. इससे भी ज्यादा है. There are many more high priority species for Maharashtra, और आपको वेबसाइट में ये सब दिखाई देगा. Many of the species you mentioned like lesser florican etc. high priority है, but they don't come into the 20 or 4 species list. तो मैं दिखाऊंगा बाद में how you can do this on the website. Okay, now to the interesting part. How are India's birds faring? तो अभी ग्राफ्स दिखाने वाला हूँ and I'll ask some questions. Everybody knows this bird यहाँ पे. What is the status of Indian peafowl? पूरा इंडिया में क्या हो रहा है इसका? Is it increasing, decreasing, stable?
Increasing.
Increasing. Does everybody agree? Increasing.
Yeah, increasing.
Increasing. Indian peafowl is one of the most rapidly increasing birds in the country. उसका पूरा country में it's increased by about 150%. Later I'll come to Maharashtra trends, but अभी पूरा इंडिया में it's almost 150% increase in the last 25 years, 25 to 30 years. And there are very few species that actually have increased as much as peafowl. Does anybody have any guesses? ये क्यों हुआ है? Why is it increased?
प्रोटेक्शन है इसलिए.
Protection.
Awareness.
Any other thoughts?
पोचिंग कम हुआ है.
Poaching कम हुआ है. Or any
Plenty of food is available.
more food is available.
Degradation of habitats.
Habitat protection.
Protection of habitats. So one of the
Sustainable environmental factors.
sorry, it's echoing in somebody's system. Okay. Conservation. So one of the interesting thing is Indian peafowl सिर्फ open areas में increase नहीं हुआ है, और not just in protected areas, but actually ये पूरा country में increase हुआ है, including Western Ghats. Deep inside the Western Ghats अभी Indian peafowl आ गए. High up in the Himalayas, 2,000 to 3,000 meters altitude Himalayas में वहाँ भी Indian peafowl आ गया है. So it looks like it is going into many habitats that it wasn't there previously. So there are some reasons that people are talking about, although अभी तक concrete evidence नहीं है. जैसे one of the reasons is degradation of habitat. अभी ये dense forests of Western Ghats, उसको थोड़ा if there is any change in habitat, तो it becomes suitable for peafowl. तो peafowl उसमें जाता है. If it's very dense and closed habitat, उसमें peafowl जा नहीं सकता है शायद. Similarly in the Himalayas, it's going up along the rivers जहाँ भी habitat थोड़ा modify हुआ है या degrade हुआ है, वहाँ पे सब peafowl अभी आने लगा है. So it looks like it is benefiting from a combination of protection, degradation of habitat, and possibly loss of predators. Jackals से predators काफी कम हो गए शायद. So these are all theories. अभी उसका test करना पड़ेगा, and hopefully somebody will do it. But there are also possible consequences. ज़्यादा हुआ है, which is a good story, but also वो ज़्यादा हो रहा है, तो there might be an impact on other birds, might be an impact on reptiles, herpetofauna, something to think about. Pigeon country में क्या हुआ है?
Increase.
Increase.
Day by day, pigeon numbers, these are increasing because the forest area, social forest area converted into non-agricultural land and apartments, buildings. Nesting problem is there. No problem regarding nesting.
Right. So as you all said, peafowl actually had one big jump in increase in the last 12-13 years, and it has increased very rapidly. again about 150% from before 30 years. But PFOL का अभी in the last since 2011-12 there's been a very very big jump. Maybe this coincides with increasing rates of urbanization. पर इसका भी reason we'll have to exactly investigate and find out why 2010-11 से इतना increase हुआ है. But of course, as expected, बहुत increase हुआ है pigeon. So report में peafowl, pigeon, Ashiprinia, Asian coil इन 4 species को highlight किया as thriving birds. So as you saw in the summary में काफी सारे birds decline हो रहे हैं, which is not surprising because इतना habitat modification हो रहा है. But there are few species that are doing quite well. और ये इनमें से 4 हैं. And these species are doing extremely well despite every all human activities. Ashiprinia, महाराष्ट्र में क्या हो रहा होगा? What is the
number is increasing?
Increasing? Anybody thinks it's decreasing? जो इंडिया में trend है, it need not be the same in Maharashtra. So any thoughts anybody? Stable किसी को ये stable लग रहा है या declining? Any
स्टेबल लग रहे हैं.
stable किसी को decline लग रहा है Ashiprinia का?
नो, महाराष्ट्र में तो इंक्रीजिंग लगता है.
Increasing लगता है. And that is what the trends also say. Actually महाराष्ट्र और इंडिया का trend बहुत similar है इसमें for Ashiprinia. Again over 100% increase. और शायद इसका भी reason है कि maybe some natural habitats are being degraded. तो as soon as habitats में थोड़ा change होता है Ashiprinia can come in. मतलब dense forest में नहीं रह सकता है, completely open areas में भी नहीं रह सकता है, but the moment you have bushes Ashiprinia आ जाएगा. So it has an increasing trend everywhere, which is interesting. Asian coil Maharashtra में
इंक्रीजिंग है.
Number increase.
Right. So again, one more case of very similar trends, India और Maharashtra में of an increase. So ये दोनों पहले दिखा रहा हूँ very similar trends, but now we'll go to some other ones, some other common birds. So the first part we're just going to look at some common birds. White wagtail, would you consider a common bird Maharashtra में winter में?
Yes, common bird.
Common bird. तो white wagtail का इंडिया में ट्रेंड और महाराष्ट्र में ट्रेंड आपको क्या लग रहा है?
Increasing.
So
Actually, the number decreased in Maharashtra.
Okay. Can you give more details?
Due to the rainfall variations and the food not available.
Okay.
The overall habitat of the entire wagtail clan is decreasing actually. Among that, I think white wagtail has been seen less as compared to the other wagtails.
Okay, interesting.
In fact, in my area, white wagtail is very common, and I see the trend is increasing.
I see. So it can be quite different by areas, I guess, depending upon what habitat you have in your area. Also, just like it's different for all the states. So white wagtail, actually in the entire country, there's been a bit of a decline, almost 50% decline, the average, but actually it comes into, not into rapid decline, but into the decline category. But in Maharashtra, there is, it looks like there's quite a rapid decline, almost 70% decline, Maharashtra mein in the last 30 years. So this was one species that really stands out. इसका काफी decline हुआ है. And maybe some reason for thought. जैसे आप बोल रहे हो, maybe it is a loss of wetland habitats or unpredictability in rainfall. But there seems to be an impact on white wagtail. It's also possible that white wagtail species are changing their migratory routes a little bit. So there are many possibilities, but just a common bird in decline, white wagtail. Scaly-breasted munia?
Increasing.
Increase.
That's right. So scaly-breasted munia, Maharashtra mein, it's increasing even more than the rest of the country. The rest of the country is about little more than 50%. Maharashtra mein, it's above 100% average increase. And it seems to be continuing to increase. So we'll see कितना ज़्यादा होता है ये. And finally, Indian P4. Is it increasing in Maharashtra?
Increasing.
Increase?
Rapidly increasing.
Rapidly increasing. So actually, Maharashtra seems to be one of very few states in the country where actually itna increase nahi hua in the state as a whole. And maybe that's because many places already had high P-fall densities. India में it's almost 150%, and in many states, Karnataka, Kerala, Uttarakhand, many areas बहुत increase हुआ है. But interestingly, Maharashtra में actually the increase is very low compared to the country. So maybe it's because the whole state is so big and there are many habitats already conducive for peafowl. ऐसे भी हो सकता है कि like in the analysis we're not using counts, we're using actually presence. So in every area and every checklist you might anyway have had peafowl present. और ऐसा नहीं है कि some areas sometimes उसका presence कम था और वो presence ज़्यादा हो गया. So that could be one more reason. But interestingly, Maharashtra stands out. Peafowl का इतना increase नहीं हुआ. Now I'll go to an iconic species, country में. Can everybody knows what this species is, right?
Yes.
So Saris crane. And what do you think about Saris crane? कंट्री में सारस क्रेन का ट्रेंड क्या हो, क्या आपका गेसेस क्या है?
Rapidly decline.
Rapidly decline.
Rapidly decline. Okay. Anybody feels it's stable or increase or anything?
The fluctuating migratory behavior alternately or depends upon the aquatic fauna.
Saras crane is increasing some places. Overall,
It could be stable, actually. It could be stable, especially in northern states. But in Maharashtra, it is definitely has declined a lot.
Right. I think that effectively summarizes the status of Saris crane. Like many of you said, it has rapidly declined in the country as a whole by 60-70%. But this includes the entire range: Maharashtra, MP, many areas where it's disappearing, Chhattisgarh, but like you said, in UP, which is one of its strongholds, actually wahan pe it's almost stable. So there is a difference between the different regions. While in the full country, this is in recent years, almost 5 to 6% decline per year in the rest of the country. UP may it's almost stable because it overlaps with that middle line, which is the baseline. So large water birds that way, बहुत सारा variation है. There are some large water birds that have increased a lot, like glossy ibis, black-headed ibis. इनका काफी increase हुआ है in the country as a whole. But there are some, like spoonbill, for example, that seems to have declined quite a bit, and some that are intermediate. If you look at spotbill pelican and painted stock, you'll see कि पहले increase हुआ till maybe 2010, 12, 13. और उसके बाद डिक्लाइन हो रहा है और इसका I'll give little more details next. But can anybody tell me whether the spoonbill trend, a decline, is it something that you have observed or is it against your observations? Anybody?
In Maharashtra, it's declining.
It's declining.
Yes.
Does anybody have any ideas about why? क्योंकि I've discussed this with many people और किसी को nobody has an idea of why they might be declining.
Might be due to its feeding ground.
Right. Yeah, maybe it's something to do with habitat. Maybe it's something to do with the specialized feeding behavior. And
actually, I think so. Most of these preferable food is not available for them there.
right.
उनका जो फूड जो है, I think so mollusk उनको लगते हैं shells.
Right.
अभी जब उनके ब्रीडिंग टाइम पे अवेलेबल नहीं होते, लाइक ऑफ मे बी रेनी सीजन के बाद उनका ब्रीडिंग होता है, तब यहाँ का जो कुछ रिवर का फ्लो सिस्टम्स है, दैट टाइम वो प्रेफरेबल नहीं रहता.
I see. तो ये चेंज हुआ है क्या? पहले सूटेबल था पर अभी सूटेबल नहीं है.
जब फर्स्ट ऑब्जर्वेशन ऐसे थे कि ऑल हेरॉन के साथ और स्टोर के साथ ये ब्रीडिंग करते थे, बट अभी ऐसा नहीं, उनकी कॉलोनी भी अलग होती है, उनका सीजन भी चेंज हो गया, ऐसा तो दिखाई देता है इन ऑब्जर्वेशंस में।
ओके ओके, इंटरेस्टिंग, थैंक्स। और अभी रीसेंट ट्रेंड्स भी देखेंगे तो स्पून बिल का रैपिडली डिक्लाइन हो रहा है, स्पून बिल। एंड इसमें वन टू इंटरेस्टिंग ट्रेंड्स दैट आई थिंक आर कॉज फॉर कंसर्न आर स्पॉट बिल पेलिकन। तो स्पॉट बिल पेलिकन का ऑलमोस्ट 4% per year डिक्लाइन हो रहा है, and painted stock about 2 to 3%. But spotbill pelican, this decline has been observed by many people. Of course, Maharashtra में उसका distribution नहीं है, right? But Karnataka, Andhra में lots of pelican deaths are being observed. 50 pelicans dead in some place, 100 pelicans dead in another place. और इसका study भी हुआ था, and apparently it is because of some infestation of nematodes. So inka the pelicans have been found with the entire mouth and digestive system completely clogged with nematodes, and उससे वो suffocate होके मर जाता है. तो very high mortality of pelican. और अभी Bangalore and nearby areas used to be a stronghold, और आजकल काफी कम दिखता है. And this is something we didn't really think about until we saw the results. And पहले flyovers होते थे almost daily in the right season, but आजकल काफी मुश्किल है. We see it only once in a month or something like that if you go to the correct place. So this is a cause for concern. इसका क्या कर सकते हैं पता नहीं, but this is one place where the trend is diagnosed, the reason is diagnosed. ये nematode जो है वो fishes में है, and but what can be done about those wetlands? What can be done about the fish that have nematodes? वो कुछ लोग सोच रहे हैं उसके बारे में, but I think that's important if we know if this decline needs to be stopped. Assam में भी the same thing hasn't been observed in Assam, but I think Assam में anyway there's been a bit of a decline in spot-bill pelican for possibly other reasons. Another pattern around the country, again talking about wetland birds, is a general decline in ducks. Many migratory ducks उनका काफी decline हुआ है all over the country. This could be because of hunting, it could be because of changing migratory routes, decline in breeding areas, but lots of ducks, including cotton pygmy goose, have declined. Now, this is not the trend for spot-bill duck and lesser whistling duck. Spot-bill duck or lesser whistling duck, उनका trend stable है. Similarly, river birds. So, there's a general trend that wetland birds seem to be in a bit of trouble. यहाँ पे little ring plover, small pratt and coal, great sand nesting birds, river nesting birds, they've all declined. And now another large water bird, Maharashtra trend, woolly neck stork. Guesses?
Increasing.
Either increasing or it is stable, but it is definitely not declining in Maharashtra.
It is increasing in my place.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does anybody think that? So does anybody think it's decreasing?
So river turn.
Sorry?
First is river turn.
First is river turn. I didn't understand.
Yeah, it's totally this population has been decreasing last 3 and 4 7 years. अभी 7 साल में तो टोटली पॉपुलेशन एक वेटलैंड पे मिनिमम अगर आपको 200 या 400 अगर टर्न्स दिखते हो तो अभी जाने के बाद आप ढूंढ लेने के बाद आपको 25 या 15 बर्ड्स भी नहीं मिलेंगे. इट्स करंट ट्रेंड टू टोटल डिक्रीजिंग एज वेल एज रिलेटेड टू लिटिल टर्न भी वैसा ही है, उनका भी टोटली अभी पॉपुलेशन डिक्रीजिंग हो गया है लिटिल टर्न का भी लाइक.
ओके, हाँ, तो लिटिल टर्न का पूरा इंडिया में डिक्लाइन हुआ है, रिवर टर्न का थोड़ा सा डिक्लाइन हुआ है, बट नॉट एज मच एज द अदर्स. बट इट विल बी इंटरेस्टिंग. महाराष्ट्र में मैं दिखाऊंगा बाद में वेबसाइट में.
In fact, river turn, what I'm seeing is it is slightly, spreading the range is spreading, because many places it never used to be seen. Now it is seen. I don't know if it is all throughout, but in some parts of Maharashtra, yes.
Okay. That's interesting. We'll take a look at river turn trend just after the presentation. So Woolly next talk. This is looks like it goes against many of your observations, but it seems to have declined. In the country, little less than in Maharashtra. Maharashtra decline is more than the rest of the country. Now, what do you think?
Increasing.
Yeah, looks like
In,
काफी decline हुआ, at least according to this data. Maybe in some areas it's increasing, in some areas it's decreasing.
Decreasing habitat destruction and construction of roads.
Mhm. So this is again a trend that was standing out. In Maharashtra is little different from the rest of the country. But we'll get into this later. I'll show some other things. Now getting into frugivores. A large frugivore, Indian grey hornbill, इसका trend क्या होगा? In the country, full country.
Increasing.
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 Everybody
decreasing.
agrees, yeah. So Indian grey hornbill has increased by almost 100% in the country as a whole, and it looks like recently it's a bit stable, but in the long term, इसका काफी increase हुआ है. And this generally seems to be the case for the common hornbills. Of course, the rarer hornbills, उसका data नहीं है, at least not enough data for trends. But Indian grey hornbill is increasing, and Oriental pied hornbill appears to be stable. Malabar pied hornbill, Malabar grey hornbill seems to be decreasing, but that also the trend is a little inconclusive. पिछले बार the trend was not inconclusive, and it was declining. Malabar grey hornbill. This is also the case for many frugivores. So ये जो ग्राफ देख रहे हो, it's a composite graph. जो भी frugivore, fruit eaters and nectar eaters है, इसको combine किया है यहाँ पे. जो भी meat birds of prey है, उसको combine किया है. Invertebrate, insect eaters, उसको भी combine किया है. So these are all guild-wise trends. और यहाँ पे fruit and nectar eaters लग रहा है कि उनका status काफी stable है on average. Some have increased, some have decreased, maybe, but overall, as a group, इनका status stable है. This includes sunbirds, leaf birds, many fruit eaters, hornbills, barbets, etc. But यहाँ पे the thing that really stands out and is a cause for concern is birds of prey और invertebrate eaters को का कितना decline हुआ है as a group. Birds of prey is not surprising. They are very sensitive. Vultures itself, itna decline hua. I'll just show after this. But insect eaters, they seem to be in a bit of trouble. Or why are they declining? Is it because of fewer insects? Is it because of some other aspect of their natural history? There'll have to be some diagnosis done. It could be because of pesticides, insecticides in the general landscape, any use in agriculture, etc. But these are the two groups that seem to be in a bit of trouble. And talking about different about fruit and nectar eaters, purple sunbird का आपको क्या लग रहा है? महाराष्ट्र में increase हुआ है? Increase, right? So Maharashtra में increase है, India में भी increase है इसका, and generally sunbirds or barbets etc. seem to be very adaptable. और इनका generally increase हुआ है. Maybe it has to do with also how urban areas and villages, cities, etc. are maintained with many flowering trees, flowering plants and fruits, but not much other resources for other diet groups. And now we get into vulture declines. ऐसे ग्राफ सबने देखा होगा. Many independent studies also have found very similar declines of vultures. और white-rumped vulture सबसे ज़्यादा decline हुआ है, followed by Indian vulture. The worrying part is that vultures का across the country अभी भी decline हो रहा है by almost 5 to 6% every year. And इसमें Indian vulture का सबसे ज़्यादा decline हो रहा है. Has anybody felt this? क्योंकि महाराष्ट्र में Indian vultures का there are a few populations. What have you been observing वहाँ पे?
It certainly decreased.
Certainly decreased in recent times as well.
Yeah, decreased.
यहाँ पे कर्नाटका में now they are almost only restricted to protected areas. Most populations outside protected areas are gone, and this seems to be a general trend. So Indian vultures, यहाँ पे there was an analysis done inside protected areas and for the full country. Or protected areas में actually they are doing not as bad as the whole country. Indian vultures especially, इनका काफी decline हुआ है over the long term. Of course, diclofenac killed off most of them. But in recent years, इतना decline नहीं हुआ है in protected areas. Similarly, white-rumped vulture doing much better in protected areas than outside protected areas. Now, other raptors. So the reason for that for many vultures doing better in protected areas is because वहाँ पे they can feed on wild prey. और wild prey पे feed किया तो the impact of diclofenac and other similar drugs is less. Other raptors, what stands out? Pallid harrier, massive decline पूरा country में. But in good news, greater spotted eagle, honey buzzard, ये दोनों they seem to be okay. Black kite also seems to be stable, not an increase in the country as a whole. But marsh harrier, pallid harrier, short-toed snake eagle, and similarly redneck falcon, tawny eagle, many raptors of open areas, इनका decline हुआ है. Does anybody want to comment on this? Harriers का आपने क्या observe किया है?
हमारे एरिया में तो रैपिड डिक्लाइन हो रहे हैं.
Harriers का?
Yes, harrier.
Okay. Any harrier roosts? उसका any thoughts?
Yes, अमरावती के बाजू में जो रूस्टिंग था हरियर का,
हाँ.
वहाँ पे अभी MIDC हो गया तो वो रूस्टिंग साइट खत्म हो गया.
Okay.
वैसे भी नंबर डिक्लाइन हो रहा है.
I see. Okay. और Harriers का यूरोप में भी decline हुआ था.
Yeah, Ashwin sir, just wanted to ask whether see, all over India the harriers have declined massively, but is it that the numbers itself are coming less, from their wintering grounds? Because when we used to see them, they used to come in large numbers, but now hardly you see any harriers actually. All harriers, not just this, but including marsh harrier, pallid harrier, Montagu's harrier, white harrier, everything, they have declined drastically in the last 10 years at least. But is it that they are also declining in their breeding grounds?
Yes, I think they've, especially for pallid harrier, there was a massive decline earlier in their breeding areas in many parts of Europe. Some of those declines have stabilized a little bit in parts of Europe, but generally harriers have declined a lot in their breeding areas, like you're saying. So numbers ही कम आ रहे हैं यहाँ पे. It's not just because of habitat change, etc. over here and other impacts over here, but also potentially impacts in the breeding areas, impacts of agriculture, etc. But what happens with again with all the chemical use in agriculture, we don't know. यहाँ पे and over there, how these impacts play into breeding success, etc. But like you're saying, there have been documented declines in their breeding areas and documented lowered success in breeding as well in their breeding areas. So
one more thing I observed is that these harriers, ये ज़्यादातर they feed on insects, especially the pallid and the Montagu's harrier. Of course, Montagu's harrier also feed on birds, but they largely also take grasshoppers and insects and from the agricultural lands. Could be the pollution and the fertilizers and pesticides used may definitely probably have an impact on their breeding cycle as well.
Yes, that's certainly possible. Yeah, and actually, one of the recommendations coming out from the report is for more research on especially this to see how chemical use in agriculture, to see how different drug use, etc. This becomes an important research topic and a research topic on priority, because only then can we really start doing something, take directed measures to stop this or reduce this decline. Western marsh harrier in Maharashtra. So Maharashtra में I think many of you already said it's declining and very similar trend to the rest of the country. महासागरीय का. And if we think actually हमको always लगता था कि Maharashtra might be doing better than some of the other areas, but actually Maharashtra seems to be in a pretty bad state, similar to some of the other areas. And finally, I'll just quickly talk about showbirds before showing some things on the website. Showbirds, this is wood sandpiper. Or wood sandpiper ka the trend is like a bit of a decline, but ज़्यादा नहीं, like around 15-20% decline if you look at the shaded area. And इसका if it overlaps with the -25 line, this is categorized as no different from stable. So wood sandpiper is one of very few raptors. Showbirds as a group, they have declined a lot, especially Arctic migrants, क्योंकि उनका breeding areas में बहुत सारे impacts है of climate change. More predators coming in, different nesting cycle not coinciding with availability of food. Breeding areas में there are a lot of pressures that Arctic migrants have to face, and possibly as a result, Arctic migrants have declined more than other migrants, other migratory shorebirds. But other migratory shorebirds have also declined quite a bit. Green sandpiper in Maharashtra, any thoughts? Green sandpiper is not an Arctic breeder. It breeds in areas that are not so north latitude में. And green sandpiper को आपको क्या लग रहा है? Green sandpiper, wood sandpiper, common sandpiper, three common inland migratory shorebirds. और इसका what is the feeling?
Green sandpiper are mostly stable in my area.
Okay.
It's common to every wetland. ऐसा कुछ नहीं लगता कि वो उसका इंक्रीज हुआ है डिक्रीज हुआ है ऐसा कुछ नहीं लगता. बहुत टाइम तक वो अपने इंग्लैंड में नेशनल एरियाज में रहते हैं. समर तक भी दिखाई देते हैं कभी कभी. सब वो बिफोर भी आते हैं इस सीजन में भी दिखाई देते हैं.
Right. और actually trends भी ऐसा ही है. In Maharashtra, उसका trend seems to be somewhat stable. Like if you look at the line, 2000 baseline है, इतना ही frequency में अभी भी दिख रहा है. But पूरा country में इसका decline हुआ है. So there are some areas where it's declining. लग रहा है कि महाराष्ट्र में decline नहीं हुआ है इसका, which is interesting because some other waterbirds have declined. So it will be interesting to understand the reasons as to why this one continues to be there in Maharashtra, visited in similar frequencies, but पूरा country में थोड़ा कम हो गया. And finally, I should have asked, house sparrow. आपको क्या लग रहा है? This is the house sparrow trend. Stable in the country as a whole, but recently थोड़ा सा decline. आपको क्या लग रहा है महाराष्ट्र में? What is the state of house sparrow?
Stable लग रही है house sparrow.
Stable लग रही है?
Stable है.
Okay. And Maharashtra में it is stable, like you said. Very or no different from stable. जैसे बोल नहीं सकते कि ये decline हुआ है या increase हुआ है. But अभी in recent years there is some signs of it decreasing. But जैसे आप देख रहे हो in the past also there are some fluctuations within a small limit. So let's see अभी next year में क्या होगा. In another 3 years there will be another assessment और तब बोल सकते हैं कि क्या हुआ है. Hopefully in that time there will be some conservation that comes in, and then we can look at measure the impact of any measures. Not for house sparrow. तो report में बोला है कि house sparrow is a low priority species. There is no reason to prioritize either funding या time या anything on house sparrow conservation क्योंकि वो पूरा country में है, and there are many other species that require prioritized research and conservation. And बहुत सारे reasons, many people say house sparrow has declined because of mobile towers, this and that, but of course there is no evidence of any of that. And finally, open habitat specialist, Indian roller, can you guess what has happened?
Increasing. Okay.
Roller is decreasing. Last 20 years is decreasing very fast.
So looks like it's a decrease in the country as a whole, and this is true for many birds of that specialize on habitats. Very interesting trend इसमें. ये भी वो diet जैसा, it's a composite. as a group, they are almost completely stable. Whereas any specialist, especially grassland and scrub specialists or open habitat specialists, roller open habitat specialist mein aayega, the purple line, and grassland and scrub specialists like Indian coaster, chestnut bellied sandgrouse, some larks, lesoflorican, bustard, etc. As a group, they have declined a lot, including pallidaria, etc. So grassland and scrub, ये भी report में से this is one of the main recommendations that grassland and scrub habitats need to be prioritized and इनका they need to be cherished in a way क्योंकि ये बहुत important habitats है और इनमें जो भी birds है हमारा actually we have quite a few endemics as well in this habitat and we're losing this habitat very rapidly across the country and this habitat really requires conservation and we need to stop planting trees in these habitats, etc. Indian roller in Maharashtra, final trend to guess? Same as country or different from country?
I think stable, increasing in Maharashtra.
Yeah. So looks like actually country trends will be
Same.
other species, but I think generally open habitat species ka looks like ye situation hai. Okay. One more is there. Blackwing kite. Blackwing kite, a bit of a decline, very similar to country trends. And another specialist, Indian yellowtit in forests. This was interesting. In recent years, it looks like Indian yellowtit has declined a little bit. So I won't spend time because it's almost, we have a few minutes. So I'll just show the website and what you can do from that in the next 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, these are some trends for bustards, open habitats. And bustard ka, of course, we know that it's declined. This is not from eBird data. This is from systematic monitoring data. Our report mein there's one section that focuses completely on systematic monitoring and why it's so important for rare species especially. But in general, systematic monitoring is really important because everything is controlled. जो protocol है, कितना time spend करते हैं, the distance of a transit, everything is controlled and we can actually monitor numbers easily. And florican and bustard are going down quite rapidly, and these are results from some systematic monitoring. So now I'll quickly show you the website. And so how many of you have visited the State of India's Birds website? Anybody?
I visited.
Okay.
Yes,
So
I have visited.
okay, nice. So the website is stateofindiasbirds.in. Oops. Oh, I missed the birds. Birds.in. And यहाँ पे you can not just look at results for the entire country. Of course, you can download the report. You can look at highlights. You can look at threads. You can look at the different sections. और यहाँ पे report download कर सकते हो. Download report. If you want to look at some information about how the report can be interpreted, यहाँ पे there's one section how to interpret the results, how to इसको read कैसे करते हैं, all the graphs within the report, and यहाँ पे there are many visual summaries, including मराठी में. तो आप डाउनलोड करके इसको भी शेयर कर सकते हो with anybody who is interested. Eventually, Maharashtra का there'll be a separate summary that comes out. उस पे maybe in the next few months. That will be released. And यहाँ पे what would be most interesting is to actually look at species results. So let's go to all species. All species में गए तो you'll see range maps. So if we go to bar-headed goose, this is the bar-headed goose range map for the entire country. और यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कि long term trend is inconclusive for the country, current trend decline, distribution range size large, और यहाँ पे you'll see the different colors, what they mean. And अब नीचे गए तो all the numbers will be visible, and you will also see which all states have trends for this. तो महाराष्ट्र में the trend is inconclusive, so trend नहीं है, but in all of these महाराष्ट्र ट्रेंड, और आप देख सकते हो महाराष्ट्र रेंज मैप इन महाराष्ट्र ऑफ द स्पीशीज, वेस्टर्न साइड में घाट्स है तो इसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नहीं है, बट ऑल्सो देयर इज not enough data for a long term trend. But इसका current trend है. So current annual change is you'll see for Maharashtra is actually quite a bit of a decline. So अब देख के you can even download the maps, you can download the graphs and see, explore all of this for Maharashtra and for the rest of the country. तो ये all species page पे you'll also see that यहाँ पे side में there are a lot of options. You can actually go directly to the state और आप देख सकते हो कि only for Maharashtra क्या है. So you can go to Maharashtra. You can even select species of high priority. But first go to Maharashtra, then down here you will see trends भी देख सकते हैं. So let's look at species that are rapid decline for Maharashtra. Woolly neck stork, western marsh harrier, kestrel, red drum swallow, interestingly, white-bellied blue flycatcher, and white wagtail. ये 6 species है जिसका rapid decline है inside Maharashtra. This is for long term. Then you can even go to current trend. So current trend has much more data because it has more. There are more species assessed, but it looks like there are 4 that are rapid decline in Maharashtra. So that is within that. इसमें I will just go to the overall thing. Okay, so these are species that are rapid decline in both. But if you only want to look at rapid decline in, let's look at this. Long-term trend is inconclusive, but current trend is rapid decline. यहाँ पे there are a few species. Some are interesting: Eurasian spoonbill, paddybill pipit, and red-breasted flycatcher, and a few others. So please explore. और जो भी comments है आपका, do let me know. आपको क्या लगता है? What about this trend? What could the reason be? Why might this trend be showing up? Finally, website पे, I think this is what you'll find most interesting. There is a new tool called Myna. Or Myna is a tool for all birdwatchers to be, or anybody who has any interest in conservation, to be able to find out, to get a report for any area of interest. So let's just zoom into Maharashtra. So let's say कि there's some wetland somewhere of interest. Can somebody suggest a place Maharashtra में? Around Bhigwan? So abhi, I'll just name the report Bhigwan, and then from 2015 to 2023. और यहाँ पे the interesting thing here is that you can draw a polygon around the area of interest. आप exactly almost trace कर सकते हो the area of interest. And in this area, we want to find out the number of species. We want to find out the number of high priority species. We want to find out IUCN threatened species कितने हैं, what are the most common species, or any relevant information in the form of a report जो हम government को दे सकते हैं, जो भी policy making bodies या local municipal bodies, उनको किसी भी ऐसे report बनाना है, तो हम कैसे सिंपल सा एक पॉलीगन ड्रॉ करके एक रिपोर्ट उनको दे सकते हैं. तो यहाँ पे if you click on generate report after this, it calculates it inside the website. जो भी data upload किया है इसके लिए, it's the State of India's birds data, so it's a curated data set from eBird. So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes. So this everybody please try for your own areas. हाँ, तो ऐसे आएगा. So this is birds of Bhigwan. Totally 315 species, 125 migratory, 10 are threatened by IUCN, 60 species are high priority in the country, 46 schedule 1, 7 endemic species for the country are recorded there. और उसके बाद many summaries of interest, which will be of interest to the government or any other body that is interested in that. These are the IUCN red list species. उनका frequency of reporting कितना है वहाँ पे? This is in the last 8 years. 2015 से report बना है. So you will get some interesting information here. Endemic species, reporting frequency कितना है, etc. Or what about congregations? 1% of biogeographic population, वो यहाँ पे रिकॉर्ड हुआ है या नहीं. And finally, common species. Common species, what is the most common species? Grey heron, followed by painted stork, black-winged stilt, etc. So I hope you find this report useful. You can generate this report, download it as a PDF. Usme you will get the map, you will get all of this information in an easy form. You can download the PDF and you can directly submit the PDF for any kind of conservation or research activities if you like. So please try out this tool, give suggestions also. इसको improve कैसे कर सकते हैं? The hope is that such a tool will be developed more and more so that all of us can use it for conservation. So that's all. I think time is up. I'll stop the presentation now.
Thank you, Ashwin. Thank you very much. If anyone has a query, please just unmute yourself.
Hello, yes.
हेलो सर, अपन ने डिक्रीजिंग के बारे में जो डिस्कशन किया है. हेलो.
हाँ हाँ बोलिए.
तो उसके बढ़ावा देने के लिए पक्षी मित्र क्या कर सकते हैं, इसके अपन डिस्कस करना चाहिए.
आई थिंक पहले जो आप रिपोर्ट में, ये वेबसाइट में जो भी महाराष्ट्र का स्पीशीज है, आप उसको मे बी थरली देख लो, क्योंकि आपको बहुत सारी आइडियाज आएंगे जो बेंगलुरु में बैठ के या किसी और आउटसाइड द स्टेट उनको नहीं आएगा. महाराष्ट्र में स्टेटस क्या है, किस स्पीशीज हाई प्रायोरिटी है और किस स्पीशीज पे फोकस करना है. तो वो इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलने के बाद आप हैबिटेट्स भी प्रायोरिटाइज कर सकते हो. आप अपना लोकल फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट से बात कर सकते हो कि ये हैबिटेट को प्रायोरिटाइज कर सकते हैं या ये स्पीशीज पे रिसर्च होना है. आप उनसे भी बात कर सकते हो और जो भी रिसर्चर्स है यहाँ पे ये रिसर्च करने का भी प्लान कर सकते हो कि पेस्टिसाइड्स का इफेक्ट्स क्या है या इंसेक्ट का डिक्लाइन हुआ है कि नहीं. सो जनरल रिसर्च और कंजर्वेशन एक्शन आप ये प्रायोरिटी लिस्ट देख के आप नेक्स्ट स्टेप्स ले सकते हो. बट आई थिंक एज अ बॉडी.
थैंक यू.
I have one question.
Yes.
As you say, the species strain either decline or increasing. So, how could we conclude about those species which are migratory? Because there might be a chances of a change in a migratory route, or might be a chances of they had already find another habitat for their migration. So, how could we conclude that their trend is either decreasing or increasing?
So that is a very good question. हम बोल नहीं सकते कि whether they have declined or increased और उनका route change हुआ है. So that is something that we cannot be sure about, especially if उनका migratory route includes other countries. हम बोल सकते हैं कि इंडिया में ये status है, but if you're looking at the Maharashtra status, for example, we can't say कि whether if it has declined in Maharashtra, is that because it has increased in adjoining state. Karnataka या Madhya Pradesh में increase होके has it declined in Maharashtra? That is also a possibility. But India-wide trends, we can say that at least जो mostly India में winter करते हैं, if that is their main wintering area, जैसे bar-headed goose, हम बोल सकते हैं कि this is actually a real decline. उनका it's not that it's changed its migratory route, but it's an actual decline. But shorebirds, that is interesting क्योंकि wood sandpiper winters Africa and Southeast Asia, बहुत सारे areas में it winters. So we cannot really say whether it is a decline in India or is it that they have changed the areas where they're spending the winter. So that we cannot say. That's correct.
So does it mean the IUCN category can be changed as the migratory route or as depend on their migration in India, within India itself?
Yes. So actually in this report, if you look at the later parts of the report, there's one section that is for the first time, I think, actually directly informing IUCN using their same calculations. So IUCN का बहुत complicated calculations है to decide whether a species should be in which threatened category. Or this time we apply the same calculations using SOIB data and हम recommendations देते हैं, especially for species that have a big part of their range in India, whether wintering or resident range, और उनका recommendations दे रहे हैं and IUCN will take those recommendations based on how much this can be used in the global context. जैसे if Indian COSAR के लिए recommendation दे रहे हैं तो they will directly use that to change the status. But if you are giving it for wood sandpiper, तो India का जो recommendation है using the IUCN calculations, उसका they'll combine it with other countries in Southeast Asia, Africa, etc., and then come up with a combined recommendation. So पिछले SOIB में we hadn't used the same calculations, but Malabar grey hornbill का status became vulnerable from the SOIB report. So hopefully uska maybe it will become easier to do some research or do some funding, get some funding, etc. उसके लिए. And that is the hope that these priorities they match जो SOIB में है and जो IUCN में है eventually. But this will feed into that.
अश्विन सर, मेरा एक सवाल था.
हाँ.
अभी एक कौन सी जो स्पीशीज है, अभी रेडनेक फाल्कन है, अभी हम रिसर्च के लिए उनका अभी टोटल पॉपुलेशन कितना है इंडिया में, अगर ये समझना हो तो कैसी जानकारी लेना पड़ेगा जी?
So unfortunately ये डेटा सेट का वो लिमिटेशन है कि पॉपुलेशन साइज कैलकुलेट नहीं कर सकते. So that's a problem because of the kind of data this is. What we need for population estimates, population size को कैलकुलेट करना है तो हमको सिस्टमैटिक स्टडीज चाहिए all over the country. और I think Pakshimitra भी if it can initiate some systematic studies, that can be a very important baseline. क्योंकि वहाँ पे numbers actually count कर सकते हैं in a very standard format. जैसे आप एक ही एरिया में सोच लो कि whether it is some place near Bhigwan or Kaswat or Sholapur or Sangli or any area, choose one or two habitats over there and वहाँ पे systematic monitoring करके we can actually look at how numbers are changing over time. और वो एक्सट्रापोलेट करके हम बता भी सकते हैं कि एक्चुअली पॉपुलेशन कितना है इसका. अनफॉर्चुनेटली ईबर्ड डेटा का वो लिमिटेशन है, हम पॉपुलेशन के बारे में बोल नहीं सकते, पॉपुलेशन साइज.
थैंक यू सर.
थैंक यू वेरी मच अश्विन सर.
थैंक यू फॉर द अपॉर्चुनिटी एंड इट वाज अ
पिछले 15 दिन में पूरे इंडिया में SOIB के बारे में मीडिया में पूरा डिस्कशन था. पक्षीमित्र और सारे बर्ड वॉचर कम्युनिटी में भी SOIB का डिस्कशन था कि क्या हो रहा है, ये डिक्लाइन हो रहा है, हर जगह न्यूज में भी वो हुई था. तो उसमें जो महाराष्ट्र का स्टेटस है उसके बारे में आपने बहुत अच्छी जानकारी दी, डिस्कशन भी अच्छा हुआ, लोगों ने भी पार्टिसिपेट किया. तो महाराष्ट्र पक्षी मित्र की तरफ से मैं सबसे पहले तो आपका आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ, आप आए, इतनी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन दी और आज के वेबिनार में जो भी लोग पार्टिसिपेट किए उनको भी मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ, आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ. और मुझे लगता है कि कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है तो आज का वेबिनार अपन यहाँ पे स्टॉप कर सकते हैं. मैडम.
Yes, thank you, sir. And I would like to acknowledge all the Maharashtra Pakshimitra Life members and newly joined members who has been attended this webinar. I specifically acknowledge Ashwin Viswanathan for giving his time from his busy schedule and give us the data and the Maharashtra perspective for the state of India's bird. And also the live demo of that website for many birders, it would definitely help. And I really acknowledge you for this informative webinar. This webinar series is a third webinar series. Previously, last 2 years, we had already organized webinar series 1 and 2. All the recordings and the videos of webinar series 1, 2 and this third are available on the official YouTube channel of Maharashtra Pakshimitra. And I also like to announce those who are non-members, they can join the Maharashtra Pakshimitra live membership by visiting the website Maharashtra Pakshimitra website and can take a live membership. And one more announcement from the Maharashtra Pakshimitra. This year we are going to organize Maharashtra Pakshimitra Sammelan, that is the annual conference of Maharashtra Pakshimitra in a coming December at Sangli. And the Bird Song organization and Mr. Sharad Apte would be the organizer. If you want details about the Sammelan, please go to the websites and visit a website for the registration and further formal formalities. So with permission to the President, Dr. Jayant Paradkar sir, I would like to conclude this webinar and thanks again and thank you all for attending this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all of you.
Thank you.